All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to English. We hope you had a wonderful spring break. Honestly, I spent a lot of mine sleeping in, playing a lot of Animal Crossing, and doing a little bit of baking, which is why I have the bread over here. So that was my break, but I hope that you had a good break. First of all, we are really proud of the work you've put into your project so far. You've chosen, I think, great topics and great questions, and it is now time to begin the actual research. So our objective for today is by the end of class, I can define at least one key term and provide background info on my topic. And this is really important because you know a lot about your topic, but not everyone does. And if you want people to, I think, really care about your topic, you have to do a good job of explaining it clearly. And that includes, I think, giving good background info. So I'm going to show you how to do that today. Before we begin, one reminder. Most of you have your topic and your question. If not, pause right now, open the lessons on Classroom for Monday, March 23rd, and Tuesday/Wednesday, March 24th, 25th, and finish those two lessons. That's going to help you choose a topic and a question, so you want to finish those two before you begin this one. I'm going to move on, assuming that everyone has their topic and their question, and I'm going to jump onto the research tracker. Now, this tracker is going to be where you, I think, work for the next, I think, month and a half. So definitely bookmark it. Keep it somewhere where you're going to find it really easily. So just a heads up. I'm going to show you right now how to finish part one of, I think, the tracker today. So step one is to copy your topic and your question below. Now, I have mine. If you forgot yours over the break, totally cool. It happens. But just check, I think, on the old lessons, specifically Tuesday/Wednesday, March 24th, 25th, if you forgot. That's going to help you, I think, find your topic and your question. I'm doing my project on domestic abuse. And my question was, what factors impact Korean American domestic abuse survivors' ability to ask for help? So I'm focusing on the Korean American community, and I'm talking about abuse. So that is step one, copy your topic and your question. Step two is when you choose, I think, key terms. You want to choose one or two key terms in your question that need a little bit more, I think, definition. What that means is if someone heard that word, they might not know exactly what it means. So you want to be really clear about what exactly you mean when you use that word. So looking at my question, what factors impact Korean American domestic abuse survivors' ability to ask for help? I see the word abuse. Now, I know what that word means, but I think if you ask anybody, people will have very different ideas of what abuse is. Is abuse hitting people? Is abuse, I think, about like yelling or screaming? Is abuse all of those things? So I want to make sure that I have a good idea of what I mean when I say abuse. Actually, I'm going to expand that and say domestic abuse since we're talking about domestic violence. I also see the word Korean American. Now, I am Korean American. Obviously, not everyone is. So there are things that I know about my community that not everyone knows. And so I want to make sure I do a good job of explaining, I think, why I'm looking at the Korean American community. So I've chosen my two key terms, which I'm going to define. Step three is to, I think, do a little bit of Googling. Look up the definitions, I think, on Google. Some tips, try phrases like, I think, like define blank. What is blank? What is police violence? Who is Barack Obama? Where is, I think, California? These are things that are going to just help you, I think, find good info on your topic. So I'm going to begin with domestic abuse, and I'm going to type in domestic abuse definition. All right, I have my Google. I see, I think, this link from the Center for Family Justice. That looks, I think, pretty reliable. So I'm going to click on that. And what do you know? All right, I already have definition over here. I'm gonna, I think for now, just copy this. because I can always go back and edit it later, but I want it all in one place. The other thing that you want to remember to do is make sure you copy the link, because number one, you want to give people credit for their work. That definition came from a website. And number two, if you ever need to go back to it, you can go back to it. So now I have my first term. I'm going to actually do step 4, which is to summarize each key term in 2 to 3 bullet points. And I'm going to use these questions to help me. Number 1, if my audience knew absolutely nothing about my topic, what would they absolutely have to know? So imagine that someone knows nothing about police violence or about bullying or about COVID-19. If someone knew nothing about this topic, what things would they absolutely have to know to be able to understand what's going on? And number 2, building on that, what key information would help them build a basic understanding of the topic? So I'm going to think about this question with my first term. I think number 1, you need to know what domestic abuse is. I'm going to paraphrase this. Basically, what this quote is saying is that domestic abuse is a pattern, right? A pattern of coercive controlling behavior that is a pervasive, life-threatening crime affecting people in all our communities. So in simpler words, I would probably say it's a pattern that is meant to give one person control and power over another. And the definition over here says, I think, abuse is not love. It is one person in a relationship having power and control over the other person. I kind of combine those points into, I think, like original words. So I have that, I think, sort of outlined. And the other thing is people say that I think it's always about hitting. That is not true, according to the source. It's just that domestic violence takes many forms: physical, emotional, economic, stalking, and harassment, and sexual. So in other words, I would probably say, again, paraphrasing, domestic abuse isn't always about hitting, right? Sometimes it can be, I think, emotional or verbal, I think economic, or even sexual. So that is my summary. I have it in 2 bullet points. Real simple. I'm going to erase, I think, the original quote because I don't need it, I think, anymore. I have it in my own words. And there you have it. I just, I think, finished step 1, 2, 3, and 4 for my first key term. Now, some of you might have a good idea of how to do this already. So if you are feeling confident about this, you can actually skip the video and go to the ending. If not, I'm going to do one more term. I'm going to do a little bit of background knowledge on the word Korean American. So let's go back to, I think, step 3. I'm going to say, I think, what is the Korean American community? And wow, this is good. I already have a lot of good sources. I wonder if I have any numbers, because I don't see any numbers, I think, sort of here. So I might just say, I think, Korean American, I think, sort of facts or data. And bingo. I have this from Pew, which is actually, I think, a super, super reliable source. So if you ever find it, really good. And this chart is actually really awesome. In 2015, there were 1.8 million people who are Korean American in the US, which is wild. Holy cow. Again, I'm going to copy that. I'm going to jump back into my chart. And I'm going to write that as a bullet point. Just in 2015, there were 1.8 million Korean Americans living in the United States. I did not know that. Holy cow. It's actually a big number. I'm actually wondering now, I know that number. I don't know how big of an issue abuse is in the community. So maybe I'll go back and see if there's anything over here. Okay, a lot of info on, I think, like the population, but nothing else really. So I'm going to Google again. I'm going to Google Korean American abuse, I think, sort of facts. All right, interesting. So I do see a number from Wikipedia. And Wikipedia, by the way, is not, I think, on its own reliable. However, sometimes you can see, I think, other sources that people use by going to the bottom. And in this case, I don't see anything immediately that sticks out. So I'm going to try again one more time. Korean American abuse, I think statistics, which is a fancy word for numbers. And oh, hey, okay. Here's one thing. So looking at this, I think site. This is a site that I think has data on Asian Americans in the U.S. So hopefully get something good. I'm gonna just keep going down. Nothing about Koreans yet. Oh, hey, okay, check it out. Here is a cool study. All right, so I found the chart on the site. And according to the chart, this chart is measuring, I think, the rate of partner abuse by, I think, your ethnicity. So it's highest for, I think, the Vietnamese American population, but it's also pretty high for, I think, Korean Americans. 19.5% of people in the Korean American community have reported, I think, being abused by a partner. So that's actually about 1 in 5 people, which is a shockingly huge number. So in 2008, you can say 19.5% of Korean Americans, 1 in 5, reported, I think, sort of experiencing domestic violence in their relationships. And again, just copy that down, and I can always go back and cite that later. All right, so that was, I think, kind of extra. And that was more about, I think, just finding a couple of basic facts about Korean American people in the US. But I think if you're working with, I think, a particular group, I think that might be useful. So I'm gonna, I think, put that on there just in case. All right, so as a reminder, this is really simple. You are doing 4 steps. You're gonna copy your topic in question in the boxes below. You're gonna choose 1 or 2 key terms in the question that need to be clearly defined. I chose 2, but you might have 1. You're gonna look up their definition. I think using Google and using research. And you're going to summarize each key term in 2 to 3 bullet points. Again, thinking about what your audience has to know about your topic in order to have a basic understanding of that topic. All right, so that is the lesson for today. I hope you enjoyed this and that it was helpful. And, oh, sorry. And one thing I want to remind you of before I let you open your tracker and begin your work is that from now on, you're going to hit turn in on your tracker and not on the actual lesson plan. This is because we're going to be working on the same document for the whole, I think, month. So you want to hit turn in on that whenever you finish, I think, part of it. And that way we can also give you feedback on your work. All right, so go ahead, open your tracker, finish part 1, hit turn in, and complete your reflection by 8 p.m. We'll see you on Thursday and Friday. That was so long.